Anyway, moving on to next week's books, I just want to show you that I went a little overboard. Before I actually get to the actual comics, let me show you a couple of the trades and shit I bought. This is Green Lantern Corps. Sins of the Star Sapphire, which makes it volume, I think, 4, and it's part of the prelude to Blackest Night. If you've been reading Green Lantern Corps, of course, you're probably going to get this. Green Lantern Corps is very different from the regular Green Lantern series. The regular Green Lantern series is a superhero story with a bit of sci-fi thrown in, while this, and the sci-fi is kind of like a Star Wars, Star Trek thing. Well, this is more of a dark science fiction, a very violent, dark, warlike science fiction that you would see in things like Alien and such. So I highly recommend that. I also picked up the hardcover version of Final Crisis. I did very much enjoy Final Crisis, and this also includes that Superman story, the 3D one that I didn't get. It looks like they didn't put it in 3D, which is good, because that was a big turnoff for me. I hate that 3D shit. I wish they would just quit it. Also, some impulse buys. I got the first 2 Penny Arcade books. Attack of the Bacon Robots and Epic Legends of the Magic Sword Kings. These titles have nothing to do with what's actually in there. I'm a big fan of Penny Arcade, and if you are, you should get these. It has not only every strip and some of the official PlayStation Magazine strips. I hope one day that they'll actually do a whole book of just the official PlayStation Magazine strips, because those are really good and they're hard to find online and such. Unless you go and collect back issues of official PlayStation Magazine. But Tycho's notes on every single strip is really interesting. So I gotta say, I'm probably gonna get the other 3 as soon as I can. I've been meaning to get these for a long time. I've been meaning to order them online directly from Penny Arcade. But then I saw them in the comic shop and I couldn't resist. Alright, so that brings us to this week's actual comics. Let's see. Okay, we got Batman, number 687. And the header says Batman Reborn. That's Dick Grayson as Batman. Judd Winnick, Ed Bennies, and Bob Hunter are the creative team here. Now, there's a lot of flashback here. And I think, personally, that the art actually reminds me a lot of Bruce Lee. Listen to me. Jim Lee's Batman art. Just take a look at it. I just want to show you guys this. And you can see the kind of level of detail and the actual stylistic choices are very reminiscent of Jim Lee. As for the actual story, it's kind of interesting because it actually kind of seems to take place before Batman and Robin #1, which came out last week. I think that what happened is that Grant Morrison with the Batman and Robin, since this is supposed to be the fun, adventureful comic, he just wanted to jump in and tell some stories about the new Batman and the new Robin fighting crime. Well, this one deals more with the transition of Dick Grayson going from being Nightwing to being Batman, and his troubles with Damian. So I highly recommend that. It's a lot of fun. Flash Rebirth number 3. Flash Rebirth has been great. Not quite on the same level as Jeff John and Ethan Van Sciver's previous one, which was Green Lantern Rebirth. But I'm enjoying it, and if you're a big Flash fan, there's a lot to like here. There's a lot about Barry's past. It's pretty much just the continuation of the story. Barry Allen's the new Black Flash. Superman shows up, obviously, by the cover. He tries to kill himself, sort of, which is really weird. And then at the end, it's kind of like, it follows the same sort of arc that Green Lantern Rebirth did, in that there was at the end of the issue where Sinestro shows up, and it's like, who else? And I think he even said that, and here at the end of this issue, you have Professor Zoom. And it's interesting because he's yellow, like Sinestro. Well, sort of. Sinestro's red, but he's yellow in another way. Booster Gold, number 21. Another one that Jeff Johns started, but now Dan Jurgens is doing it with some guy named Ratmund. I actually enjoyed this. The Black Beetle is revealed as the villain to Booster, finally. I mean, we know he's been a bad guy for a while. The new Batman is in it. That's pretty cool. Actually, the coolest thing is at the end, there's the backup feature with Blue Beetle, and I hope this continues. Blue Beetle was one of my favorite superhero comics, and I was really upset that it got canceled. So hopefully that will continue. It'll be Booster Gold, which is actually a pretty high-selling comic, with and hopefully that'll turn on more people to Blue Beetle, and hopefully he'll get his own series back. Deadpool number 11. It's got that Dark Reign shit on the top. I don't know what's going on. I laughed my ass off just at the cover here. It's great. It's fucking awesome. He's fighting Hawkeye, who's really Bullseye. I thought the humor in this is really great. As you might remember, in the end of the last issue, Wade got an arrow stuck right through his head. It got dark all of a sudden in here. I hope the video comes out okay. I don't have a light on, but when I started the video, it was bright enough. Sun must have went behind a cloud. Anyway, he's got an arrow through his brain, so while his brain is like healing itself, he's saying a lot of funny things. I laughed my ass off at the suit full of meat, the flashbacks to Wade as a child in school, and also the flashbacks to Bullseye as a child in school. I thought they were very funny. Green Lantern Corps number 37. This one's a bit of a step down. Usually I really enjoy Green Lantern Corps. I felt that the whole thing with the Anti-Monitor's corpse dragged on for too long. I think that it's one of those misleading things. Again, Daxam fights back, but I thought that the bulk of the issue didn't deal with Daxam, but rather the riot that's going on in Oa. The end really makes up for it because of the Scarred Guardian coming out and really doing some fucked up shit. I won't spoil it for you, but it's pretty good. Action Comics 878. This was another one that was kind of just there. It wasn't really that exciting. You got this like Kryptonian Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing, and Thara and Chris as Flamebird and Nightwing. I don't know. It didn't really, reach out and pop me in the balls. We'll see what happens. And finally, this one I picked up on a whim. This is Red Robin number 1, and it's by, let's see, Chris Yosta and Raymond Botches? I don't know who they are. I picked this one up mainly because I wanted to know who Red Robin is, and thankfully it's Tim Drake, so we know he's still in the action. Tim seems to have lost it a little bit. He thinks Batman, that is Bruce Wayne, is still alive. We know he's dead. I mean, we saw him get fried to a crisp, and while the end of Final Crisis certainly gave us hope that he'll one day return, that his soul is still out there, we know he's pretty much, for all intents and purposes, at this time dead. But Tim thinks he's out there, and he's like globe-trotting all around Europe, trying to find them as if he's hiding out there. And I think that Tim is dealing with some abandonment issues, which made this a really interesting first issue. Also, Raj Al Ghul shows up at the end, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, a really good haul. I'd say for last week, definitely the best of the lot was Batman and Robin. And I think that the worst of the lot, or at least my least favorite, was probably Superman. While this week, I'd say the best of the lot was... Well, the worst of the lot was probably Action Comics. It didn't really grab me. The best of the lot was probably Batman. So it's been a really good 2 weeks for Dick Grayson. So, I'll see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed it.